wondering how this topic has anything to do with you, and to be completely honest, it kind of doesn't, because everyone here is of the younger demographic, and silent strokes don't affect you guys. But starting from the age of 30, the risk of silent strokes doubles every 10 years, so that by the age of 70, 1 in 3 people will experience one. And that includes that friend or that relative that you know that could potentially be one of those individuals. And the problem is they wouldn't even know, because silent strokes are different from any other type of stroke that we've learned about in this class. Silent strokes damage a portion of the brain that doesn't visibly impair physically an individual. And that seems like it would be a really good thing, but because of that same reason, for many, many years, a silent stroke can go completely undetected, and it can actually significantly increase your risk of developing all of these other types of strokes that we've already talked about. And even a physician, if they look at a patient who has had a silent stroke, may not even realize it unless the patient tells the physician, I have had certain symptoms, and the physician will then pull up an MRI and they will find that location where the silent stroke has damaged the brain. And it all starts with knowing what the symptoms are. So my project is intended to inform people about these symptoms and to help prevent and diagnose them early on. I think that the best way to do this is through an infographic, because it's easily dispensable and you can see it via the internet, or you can print it out and post it up like one of these posters. And this is the infographic that I created. So one of the difficulties that I had with creating this was I did research and I had a ton of information, and I only had a page to put everything down that I wanted to, but I couldn't. So I thought that if somebody came across this infographic and they could only take away a couple of things, what would they take away that would tell them what my central purpose is in undertaking this entire project? And I realized that these are the topics that I want, that I think that are most important for them to understand. And so we have relevancy. We establish why this topic is important, because people won't care about your issue unless you relate it to them. And I then talked about, symptoms, because my whole entire purpose is spreading awareness about the symptoms of silent strokes, so people can go to their doctor and tell them that I've had these symptoms, and they can get diagnosis. And the next thing I thought was just like an interesting article I found about the link between sleep apnea and silent strokes, and also the risk of women. So I put that on there. And of course I had ways to prevent as well, because it makes sense. And so after I figured out the entire text portion, I had to create the graphics. And I am not really a good artist. Like, you can kind of tell that the graphics are not that great. But so what I did was I went online and I searched for images that were related to what I wanted to draw. And those are the images that are inspired by those things that I saw online. And I know that some of these images, this one's slightly disturbing, but I think that it does a really good job of conveying what I wanted to, and that was the entire thing that I wanted to do with this project. Now I know that, but the most important thing that I took away from this project was that, was that it allowed me to develop my research and my communication skills, to pinpoint what the most important parts of information were, and to put that on the infographic, and also to learn to readily adapt to setbacks. I know that this project, it's not a holy grail, it's not going to completely eradicate this issue, but I definitely think that it can heighten awareness and it can heighten prevention and early diagnosis of silent strokes, so that they are no longer termed silent strokes. Thank you. It doesn't personally relate to me, but I thought we learned about strokes throughout the year, and I thought that was interesting. And this one's not very well known because it is silent, and so I thought this would be interesting to bring awareness to.
How do you spread your infographic?
I was thinking about putting it online through a host of websites and organizations, and then also you can display them like a poster if you print them out in hard copy.